Hello, welcome to a Map Business Online Community Business Mapping webinar. Today we're going to talk about adding value to your business map. And we're going to start right now. We're going to take your business map to the next level. We're going to take a map that I started with last time we had a webinar, and we're going to move it to the next level by adding value. So today's objectives would be enhancing imported business data, updating imported business data or editing that data, accessing business listings, accessing demographic data, and calculated data columns at the end. We'll be using key map functions like adding map layers, importing location data, symbolizing some of that imported data by circle, which I haven't done yet, and accessing business listings, demographic data, and setting up calculated data columns. Map Business Online offers a variety of ways for you to add value to your business map to move your map to the next level. These various operations are suggestions that we give. It all depends on your map's purpose. Your job as a map creator is to determine which additional layers or processes truly add value to your business map. Map layers like zip codes where city limits can be color coded, imported location data is probably the most valuable enhancement you can make to your map. That's your business data. Make sure it's located by address column, address or lat long, not just by zip code. Demographic data comes with a Map Business Online subscription, and it's often used to add value to a business map. Business listings can be purchased through Map Business Online and embedded in the mapping for added value. I want to give you a couple examples of some business maps that I like. This one is a customer of ours. I've removed all of their data, so all you can see is their geography, but I love their geography. It's wonderfully colored. It's built out of counties across states for franchise territory assignments, and it's a beautiful map. A beautiful map can add value because it's easy on the eyes. If it's easy on the eyes, it keeps people's attention and doesn't let their mind drift or isn't distracting with other things. This map is a takeoff on a map that a customer made that I loved because it shows insurance coverage, healthcare coverage across an area by radius and by uh, drive time polygon. In urban areas, and the blue are rural areas. It shows coverage for clients within those areas. They go to specific hospitals to get services. Um, so all of that is kind of contained here in this map. I love it because it's very functional, yet it's beautiful. It adds value. This map is a map I made. It's a simple map for insurance coverage in the state of Minnesota. I like it because it's straightforward, simple. You've got some points on the map, you've got labels on the map, and a legend. It's not very distracting. It's got what you need to get your job done. So let's go to the map that I left off with in the last webinar. And what we're going to do first is we're going to look at adding map layers to that map. So I'm going to go to my mapping application. And here's that map. It's a territory map. We've got some data that we've pulled in to the map. You can see turned off and on there. And we've got the zip codes with the zip code layer turned on. Labels are turned on here. In fact, I find those labels to be distracting. So I'm going to go and edit that zip code layer. I click on the edit gear here at the zip code level, edit gear, labels, and I'm just going to uncheck auto labels. Auto labels are like your zip code labels, state labels, those are auto labels. And that just gets rid of that. And in fact, if I uncheck the zip code layer entirely, you can see the map is just simpler. There's not a whole lot to understand here. But let's go up and look at map layers. So one of the key map layers that we've got listed here that I like to look at for adding values are city layers. And we can add city limits, which I actually meant to take off the map. I've got it right here already on. But so what I'm going to do is city limits layer, excuse me, the city point layer is right there. So I got that from the map layer button here. And I bring that down. I'm going to just show you I can delete it. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete this one too. You can delete any layer like that. and it goes back into the map layer button, and there it is. There's the cities button. I'm going to add that to the map. You can see the city points. They're not editable. All they are is referential. The more you zoom in, the more they'll show up. I don't think that gives me what I want for this map. What I was interested in for this map was to add more value. So the city limits layer comes in the same way. Once it's in, you can see I've got city limits on the map here and boundaries and key points all the way in. And you can see here in Kentucky, there's an empty space. If I click the magnifying glass and zoom into that empty space where there are no cities, you'll find there are, in fact, cities as you zoom in. Now I'm going to uncheck my zoom button and zoom back, use that back button. We can add value further to the city limits layer by clicking the edit gear and then looking under general. We can make sure we've got a dark border, and we can adjust our coloring and decide what colors work the best for our particular map view. You can try different ones. You just stick your cursor right in that little fill box there and adjust your transparency accordingly. So you can make it as transparent or as opaque as you would like. Now you can actually color code the map, the city limits layer, and go in and grab the demographic data or data that you've imported. You can see the demographic data listed there. 2020, 2019 are projections, and then 2018 and on down are actual releases from the Census Bureau that we've embedded, and those come up on a scheduled basis. And then you can adjust your numbers here and color code accordingly. So let's just color code the city limits. They show up in the legend as such. And now we've added that city limits layer. Another layer that you've got in add map layers is the highway layer, which I believe is already on the map here. So I'm just going to, nope, I'm going to grab it from the map layer function here, add to map. There it is. Highway layer is nice for reference. Some people like that, especially in the transportation business. So I'm going to uncheck that. We've got the city limits layer turned on. And now let's move on to importing your own data. So here we have an Excel spreadsheet of hospitals in the Midwest area. And we're going to import this data into Map Business Online. The important thing is, if we want to do editing to this data after we've got it into Map Business Online, we want to be able to utilize the Unique ID function in Map Business Online. And Unique ID is just a column in your data that assigns a number to each record. And in this case, customer ID, that comes from a CRM, which has a unique ID for each one of those hospitals. But you can make your own, as I did here, simply by, you can put a column like that, unique ID, and then just put 001, 002, 003, and then using your little drag button here, drag it down. And that's all I did here. All the way down was create my own unique ID column. And so that gives you that unique ID that Map Business Online will hold on to in order to update records when you bring them in. So let's pull in the data. So we go to Data Sets, under Adding to Map, we're going to Data Sets. We're going to click Next. We're going to browse to where that data is, which is here. Open. And then I click Next. Take it easy, go through Next. Don't go right to Plot. Make sure that your columns, your address column goes into street address, and your other columns line up accordingly. And you can see as we go down here, everything's falling into place except state. State needs to be manually placed because I named it ST and Map Business Online doesn't recognize it. Once that's in there, you can click Next. And here's your customer ID. But you can see we might want to put that down to unique ID that we made, or we could leave it at customer ID. And I want my naming to be facility. And then I can decide what other information I want to be on the label that people can see when they look at the points on the map. So maybe it's those three things. And so we click Plot at this point. Advanced lets you manipulate some formatting, and you can play with that on your own, which I encourage. Map Business Online will take a few seconds to geocode your results into the map. It's going to then tell you how many locations plotted, and you can click Done. The data window will come up and the points will show on the map. You have the ability to change those data points on the map right away here in the data window view. You can do that also over here. There's a lot of duplication of access for how you do things, but you can see you can change things there as well. Now we can color code the data set right away. And before we do any color coding, what I want to do is edit some data. So if I wanted to go in and edit Abbeville area, if I select the Abbeville record on the map, you can see there it is. Good old Abbeville Medical Center. And I can click that little pencil and go into my edit data function and edit my numeric value to go from 100 down to 75. Save the edits. And now if I look at Abbeville, my numeric value is now at 75. Now, because we put the unique ID in, we can travel back to where our data is located, and there's Abbeville. And so let's go back to numeric value in here. Here it is. And let's make that 125 so it stands out. And we'll save it here. And now we can go back. So you could save multiple records over there in that function in your Excel spreadsheet. And then simply come here, go to the data, click the edit gear, and travel down to update data set from file and quick update. And now Map Business Online will tell you we've updated a record, locations deleted, locations added. And if we go down to Abbeville, you can see your license bed is back to 100. So it does do the editing for you in an, oh, I'm sorry, the numeric value right here is 125. So it did work and it's updated. Now, let me just refer to my notes for a second. So we're importing data, customer ID. We did that using, okay, so color coding we've done before. And typically what I do is, I'm gonna just zoom back, is I would go in and color code by symbol, pick my data set, go next. You can do it by county or zip code or area, but I could grab some function of my data and color code it. I'm just going to do it really quickly, but I wanted to show you a couple things. First of all, you can copy some of these things down. So for instance, if I change the size, I could copy the size down. Or if I wanted to ramp sizes, I can decide I'm going to ramp it between 35 and 50. And click ramp sizes, and it'll ramp it for you, and then you click done. So those tools can be helpful if you're using the color coding tools. And then you have a color coded function on the map, and that's added to the legend, which again, we're starting to get busy here, but let's keep going because I want to show you some of the functions. Another thing that I think is important for people to know is circles can be helpful. So if I go through using the circle button, and again, you can find that in either place. It's either here or up here. So I click the circle button, I click next, and it just brings us into this circle view. And I'm just going to go with numeric value, not checked as a label, but it's based on the numeric value, and I'm going to just click done. And it puts these circles on the map. Now there is an element of coloring. The darker it is in orange, the more numeric value there is. Well, let's go back to circle again. You can always go back to your color coding and just go through it one more time and try a few new things. This time, let's summarize by county, and let's go to numeric. We're going to show a label, and let's make it 3D. And let's put a border on there, and let's make that border a dark border. And then let's increase our size in the minimum, and decrease on the maximum a little bit and click done. Now, that's a busy map, and the county doesn't really have too much bearing here, but you can organize your data by zip code, county, or state, and that can change the way things look. So if I went back on circles and we selected it again, and this time we did it by state, let's see what that looks like. Let's just run through it. Organized with numeric value. And that's the important thing, is there's a way to put numeric values in a record on the map, in a point on the map. And that's what I like about the circle function. I think it's good to have, and something that can be considered for adding value to your map. Now, so that's circle value. And the next thing we wanted to go over, I'm going to just uncheck that. And map and data. Map and data has business listings available, and this button up here allows you to dig into those business listings. You can search a huge database of business listings that we tap into by API, and you can search it by business name, by industry, by circle or polygon on the map, or in some cases by geography, which would be zip code, city, or state. So you can choose how you're going to find that information. Now, for instance, if you wanted to find by business name 7-Eleven, let's see what happens if I put that in. I go validate. There's 15,378 businesses matching that name across the USA, and you know which companies those are. Okay, so we don't need 7-Elevens. I'm going to start over. But my point is that this search up here at this level is going to tell you where across the whole USA or how many you've got. And then it's going to let you pull the 16,000 records, and it's going to charge you money. There are some free that you get with the subscription, but it will charge you roughly 15 cents a piece. So you want to be, you want to have it under control when you start grabbing data. So one of the things I looked up by business name was electric vehicle. You have to spell it right. Charging. Let's see how we do with that. 328 across the US. Okay, so that's interesting. What if we wanted to look it up just by our area of interest for our territories here? Well, we can actually create a polygon on the map using our search tools. And I'm just going to do it really fast. I'm going to just imagine that this is our territory carefully polygoned by your map creator. We create the polygon. We don't need to search here, but we want to go down here. With relation to the polygon, we click business list, which is the mini toolbar. And now we're just dealing with this area. And if we look up electric charging, again, which is sitting right here, validate, 328 match the name across the US. And over here in the polygon records, you can see it's thinking. And it should come back relatively quickly with a subset of that, which is related to the polygon, 35 records. So we could then click next to that, and then we could plot those records on the map. So now there's business listings that are coming in to add value to our map. Great for looking up competitors, great for looking up maybe possible stores that might be in the same area. You can see they plot on the map with a point just like any other data set does, and you've got data information down here associated with those records. So that's how you get business listings in. You can color code those as well. If we go back up into business listings here, you can also do an industry search. So I could look up, for instance, let's go industry lookup, and it's going to tap into the NAICS codes or the SAIC codes, which are census-based industry categories of businesses. If I go the whole 6-digit and I put in a word like chemical and I do a lookup, it's going to give me all of these chemical companies. And in this case, it's by NAICS code. So if I went in and looked, update search criteria, you can see there it is. And I can once again validate that to get a sense of the count. And I don't have any in this particular look. So more options here. You can see NAICS code or SAIC code. That's another way to go. Business name, industry lookup. You can look up by other information as well. But business listings can add significant value to your business map. All right, so at some point, you've got to take a look at your map and ask yourself, what do I need in here? Do I need the highway layer on? Do I want my hospital information in there with numeric value? Do I need other information turned on? You can see the map gets very cluttered. And so you need to do some sort of triage on what you want and what you don't want. And that's where you can start to take a step back and think about removing things. Think about adding data to a templated map where you solve multiple problems, each with a separate map. So don't try and solve every problem in the world in your business all with one map. There's better ways to do it. There's other ways to take a look at your business map, one map at a time, to cover hospital, supply chain issues, and deal with territory management on another map. So you can do these different things. You don't have to access it all at once. Another thing we wanted to talk about today was demographic data. And so I'm going to just get rid of some of these other layers here. And the business listings we don't need for right now. And even the city limits, I'm going to turn that off for now and go back and look at our territories. So you can take any map object in Map Business Online and look at that object on the map. And an object could be a polygon, could be a zip code, could be a state. It's an object that's on the map. So let's just go like with a circle. And if we went up here and we just put a circle on the map, you'll note that there is a summary button associated with the toolbar. And that summary button allows you to access demographic data. And if we go down to year 2018, we'll be into the demographic data from the Census Bureau. And let's just go to, you can see there's just so much data here. Consumer data, population by age, population male and female. What if we go male population and then population of people 5 to 9 years old? We've already got population 220. So we click next, and that gives us a spreadsheet. And you can actually put that spreadsheet on the map, or you can export it out. Your choice. If you export it out, it's going to go out as a CSV file that you can work with outside of the application. You can do that with up to 10 categories at a time using the summary button. The summary button is available for territories too. And to get that, click the label, and that brings up your little mini toolbar for any given territory. And there's the summary button. And you can go in, once again, and do your thing. So you can bring over some data, click next. And now you can export that to file. You can't plot it on the map like the regular polygon or map object lets you put a little spreadsheet on the map. You can't do that with territories. One of the reasons you can't is because you do have the availability of working with any given territory and editing the columns in an analysis view. So you can always do that, and if you drill into, you can see the little, used to be an arrow and now it's a little spreadsheet button, but you can go into any of these territory functions and add demographic data. Bring that over, and you can bring in a whole bunch of them. Set the data columns. Now all of the territories are going to have this information. You can total by territory down here at the bottom. So there's 6,513,000 people in the Indiana territory. So you've got that data window view, and you've got the map capability of searching through the summary button for territories. So those are two ways, the summary and through this choose columns function, that you can add demographic data to your map and export it out. Another way you can access demographic data for territories is to, again, selecting that label and then clicking the properties here and grabbing the labels, formatting the labels. And then we go down below and you can grab information that you've imported. There's our business listings there, there's our demographic data there, and there's your population again. I like to put a little text here, which lets you decide what you want to call it. Boom. And then down here, you've got up to 5 flexible fields for that label. So let's just put in one more. We'll go down to, for instance, you could grab the hospital data if you wanted to. And there's always a count that you can grab, so be the count for that particular territory. But let's say we wanted to go down to that numeric value total. Let me just go val, and bada bing, bada boom. You've got labels on the map, which is a mix of demographic data and imported data. Again, adding value to your map. Different ways for you to access demographic data using Map Business Online. Now, the final thing I wanted to show you was if we were adding information to the label or the summary. Let's go to the label, format labels. We want to, let's say we want to grab demographic data, and we're like, oh, I want all the old folks, all the duffers. Let's see, where are we here? Okay, there they are. Whoops, now we're into their income. So population of females and males and everybody, you can see they have these ranges. So you've got ranges of people from a given age, 60 to 64 years, 60 to 69 years, that's all available there in the data, but you may want a mix of that. How do you achieve that? And that's what calculated data columns are. So if we go over here and we decide we want to basically summarize multiple categories out of the demographic data, we have to do it by map layer. So in this case, we're dealing with territories. If we wanted to show that by zip codes, then we'd do a calculated data column by zip codes. They work the same in every one. So if I go in by territory, and I go down here, I'm basically editing my territory layer in map and data, and I'm going to go down in the first general box, and I'm going to click Manage Calculated Data Columns. And I am going to add a calculated data column. And I can then scroll down to where my age brackets are. And here you have 60 to 69, and we go all the way down to 85 years and up. Everybody's favorite age group. I mean, it's very popular for all those baby boomers that are aging. And we can see you can actually multiply and divide. You can create a ratio of this data over some other data set down here. And that could be data that you've imported too. All that's accessible here. So you do have some flexibility in arranging the data in Map Business Online. So there's my data, and now we click, you've got the ability to adjust the places and decimal points if you're into decimals, and you can change the name, Old Duffers, and then we click Add Data Column, and we're done. We've got it. Oh, I had 2 of them. You can see Buttards here is another way to call Old Duffers, and where I grew up, we called them Old Buttards, so it depends. And I can say that because I'm approaching that age. So then we go back to our territory, and we click Properties, and we go to Labels, and we go down to the next set of labels here. There's our business listings if we want it. There's our calculated. There's our duffers, and so we could say old folks like that. And now we've got calculated data columns in the label. So all of these things that I've just thrown at you in one long, sort of semi-long video are used to add value to your business map, to make your map sing for your map audience, and it's got to be related to your business purpose, your map's business purpose. So don't forget to add the value you want, but to keep the map simple, succinct, and colored in a way that's easy on the eyes. You've always got the ability to add and delete map layers and get that focus where you need it to be and make that map sing for you. You can always save your map as a map template up here uh, in the Save dialog. I'll just end with this. So there's your ability to save it as a map template. And that lets you protect the work you've done, and then you can build on it with other maps. And you don't have to solve all problems with one map. You can go back and create a new map from a template. Open it up at any point in time, start working on it again, save it as a new map or as a new map template. Go to mapbusinessonline.com, take our free trial. Thank you very much for your time. And we'll see you at the next webinar.